Everyone, this is your host, Brother Kevin Carr, and welcome to Real Talks. With me, I have Deacon Johnson, and for those of you that don't know, he is the president over the media department. And there is one aspect that we want to talk about on today, and it's photography. So for those of you that don't know, also, Deacon Jonathan has his own photography business. His photography business was called Triple J Photography, and we want to ask Deacon Jonathan a few questions. So, Deacon Jonathan, tell us your testimony on how you got into photography.
Well, it goes back a long time ago. I believe I was in church and we were having a banquet. We were having like a youth banquet at our church, and what happened, I'm sorry, it's at an event center in Oxford, and what happened, the photographer we hired didn't show up. No call, no show, nothing. So we didn't have anybody to take pictures. So the first lady of our church, First Lady Lana T. Carr, she had a film camera, and that's how far back it is. This was before digital. But they were still doing rolls of film. So she had a film camera in her purse. She gave it to me and she told me to take pictures. And I said, let me take pictures. I don't know how to take pictures. I ain't never done that before. And she said, oh, don't worry about it. Just point it at the people and snap and shoot. And I said, okay, I guess I can do that. So I did that, and I took a lot of pictures. And so they went and got the film developed. And they were like, wow, these are some really great pictures. And they said, have you ever thought about being a photographer? And I was like, nah, I just did that because y'all asked me to. And I guess some time went by, about a year, and she came back to me and she said again, hey, are you going to do anything with your photography? She said, you really ought to, you're good. And I was like, I don't nobody want to see me take no pictures. I ain't good at that. And sometimes God has to get your attention when he's trying to bring you into something. And sometimes we can be looking the other way or not even paying attention at all. So another year passed by, and my mother, and this is how I knew it was God, it really got my attention. She called me out of the blue one day and she said, hey, I heard that you can take pictures. I said, where you hear that from? She said, don't worry about all that. Is it true? I said, not really. I just took some pictures for my church and they thought it was all right. And she said, why haven't you done anything with it? I said, well, I ain't got the money to really invest in that. And she said, you know what? I'm going to write you a check. And this money, I want you to take it and go and buy your setup for photography. She said, go buy your equipment. And I was like, whoa, So she wrote me a check, gave it to me. I took that money and I went and invested in my first camera, backdrop, and lights. And that's how I got started. I stayed in the church taking pictures for a long time. And I really wasn't in business yet. I was just taking pictures in church. And people laughed at me and they said, hey, we're all orange. I didn't know camera settings. So everybody was orange. So everybody was upset and, you're terrible. I look like an orange. And, I had to go through all of that. And so things got better as I went on. God began to really kind of help me to take pictures. And he helped me to invest in some more equipment. And then I began to get a little better then.
Yeah, and so, taking a trip down memory lane, we knew that you weren't the best, but there was a very special person that came into your life and helped you, help broaden your eyes on how to take pictures. Tell us about that person.
Oh, man, you're going to make me misty up here. It was a good guy in Dallas, Texas. Well, first, before I tell you that, I actually had prayed. We were in transitioning, our church was at the time, and I was also taking pictures. And I would ask for help around town and around local people to help me. Seemed like nobody really was invested on trying to take me on to help me and learn anything. And I told God, I prayed, I said, God, I really don't have money to go back to school like I want to. I said, but there's got to be another way to learn this thing. There's got to be a way that I just can't see that you can help me with. And so not too long after I prayed, we ended up start fellowshipping with the Dallas Church, Full Gospel Holy Temple. And so my pastor come back to me. He said, hey, there's a guy down in Texas, man. His name is Kelvin Oliver. Man, this guy is great with camera. He want to meet you and everything. And I said, really? So we went to the men's retreat for the first time. And I met Brother Kelvin. And it was just like, we just clicked when we met. And I get a little emotional sometimes when I think about him. He's passed on now to be with the Lord. But when I met him, he took me under his wing. And he began to critique me, like right then at the men's retreat, I was taking pictures. And he began to show me how to take pictures better, how to tell a story when you take pictures. And I will say this, if it was not for him, there would be no Triple J photography, because he helped me elevate to another area and helped me develop my own style. So if it wasn't for Kelvin Oliver, there would be no Triple J. And I just thank God for that, because I did pray and God sent me him in my life. And he began to show me how to be a better photographer.
Man, that's a blessing. And, so bringing us to this point, what are some advice that you would give to young people that are interested in photography?
Well, nowadays everyone thinks they're a photographer because of your phone. And to be honest, these phones are awesome. Yeah. I mean, you got some phones that take some immaculate pictures. iPhone, the 11, very nice. So it takes very good pictures, especially on portrait mode. But that's not it, just using your phone. My advice to them would be to invest in a used camera. A used Canon or Nikon, or use Sony, and just start taking pictures. Just start going outside, taking pictures, get your family, start taking pictures with them. And the best thing I can tell them is to practice, and you don't have to start off with, look, I didn't start out with this thing, when I first started, this is some heavy duty stuff right here, but I didn't start out there. I actually started out with, I think I had a Rebel. I think it might have been an XT or something like that. And then I kind of grew from there, and then I invested in more lenses, and that makes it better. But not just equipment. You have to practice. You have to go and hone your craft. You got to go and be passionate about what you do. The more and more you practice, the better you get. And now with so much information out there now, there's so much on YouTube. Hey, YouTube, there's so much on YouTube that you could just go in there and click, and they can show you how to take pictures. So now we're at the age, see, back then, that age hadn't really come upon us, but now it's really heavy now. So they can go on YouTube for free and learn all kinds of techniques when it comes to taking pictures. Something that I didn't have back in the day. And my advice to them is just to love what you do. If you love photography, then great pictures will come. You know, and as you keep practicing, the better you get.
That's awesome. And since you brought that out, why don't you explain to them what that is?
Man,
Just explain just a little bit. You don't want to go into too much detail.
Yeah,
we'll lose them.
We don't want y'all to be like, oh my God, this is a photography lecture. No, it's not. But basically, this is a Canon EOS R. The body it's a mirrorless camera, and this is a Sigma 70 to 200 lens, and it's a prime lens, and it has great glass in it, and like I said, and the body of this EOS R is a very great megapixel camera, and settings and everything is very great on it. And it shoots, man. For social distancing purposes, I have this lens here, so if I am taking somebody's pictures, they can be way more than 6 feet away, and I can take their picture and things like that. And it's a pretty good camera. Pretty good, nice setup.
Now, is photography a hard job?
It can be. When you say job, if you're going to go into it professionally, there are a lot of things that are tied to it. You have to get your business license. You got to get a EIN number. You have to pay taxes. You have to have all that stuff straight, your paperwork straight. It's good to have contracts and to give those to your clients and do things professionally. Friendship is good, but it's good to be a business person first. People need to respect you as a business person if you're going to go into business. If you're just doing it for fun, nah, because it's just fun. It's not going to be like that. But if you say you want to go into business doing it, there's a lot of I's and T's that you need to cross and to make sure that the business aspect is taken care of. As well as, because a lot of people go out and take pictures, but they don't get compensated for their time. They don't get compensated for the time that they're out there shooting, the time when they're at home editing pictures. They don't get compensated for that because they don't know how. You have to see where your value is. And like I say, it's not hard per se, but you can make it hard if you don't know what you're doing.
Oh, man. And so, which brings me to this. Should I go to a photography school if I'm interested?
Well, I tell you what, it's kind of a yes and no answer on that. I didn't go to school at all, but that's something that I had, because I'm gonna tell you this. Now, I got this talent from being inside church, being with God. That was a talent He gave me. That's not all I can do, but that's one of the things I can do. A lot of people do go to school and they sharpen their skills, and it helps to go to school. But if you can't afford to go to school, then there are other ways to learn without going to school. But if you have the money to invest in you going to college, or taking up a trade or a class at the local college, Ayers, Gaston, they have some classes you can take, just classes on photography, not a full course. That'll be something that you can do. But I'm telling you, YouTube, man, if you can't afford to go to school, YouTube shows you so much. It's so much vast information out there. Google is so much vast information. So you don't have to go to college to be able to be a photographer, but it can help you. Like if you're going to be a professional with a big corporation, then maybe yes, to have that up under your belt and the business license and everything else. But if you're just doing it and you're keeping it small, you might not have to go. It's just kind of how you feel you want to enhance your knowledge. But there's one thing that I will say that you can do. When I started out, I didn't have a lot of people trying to let me shadow them. But there are photographers that will let you be an apprentice, an intern. Interns don't get paid money, but they get paid in knowledge. And so when you intern with somebody, that's a great value because you get to get free knowledge. And you can soak up all of that and then learn that way as well. So, yeah.
And so, we thank God for you, Deacon Jonathan, for this interview. for those of you that couldn't get anything out of this photography interview, one thing that you can get is if you pray to God for help, God will lead you to the right person. And there are people out there, regardless if you don't go to college or not. There is always somebody. There's somebody that can help you.